I have had to really examine my biases and my prejudices. We all have them. And it's really important going into the social work field that you examine that so that you don't, potentially harm a client with your bias or your prejudice, basically. And so just examining things like, I grew up in the 90s and the media portrayed Black men, for example, as dangerous criminals a lot. So, and I also, after the age of about 9, grew up in a predominantly white community. So then as I got older, I kind of had it like, I don't know, I don't want to say like Black men scared me, but I had like this idea that it was unsafe because of portrayals in the media. And then, I went to prison and I was around women of color and learning about the culture and their culture, and just, I've never like been prejudiced, but like, or racist, you know what I mean? But like very ignorant of like the culture and the experiences of people of color. And and then when I got out of prison and started working with Aaron and working with formerly incarcerated, it's like, these guys are some of the best dudes. Like, yeah, of course, like there are gonna be some bad apples or whatever, but it's the same with white people. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter. But so, yeah, that's all been a really big awakening for me. And yeah, it just really makes me angry of the things people have had to go through. I'm Kayla. I'm a mom. I'm also formerly incarcerated. I am a business owner. I own my own cleaning business. I'm in my Bachelor's of Social Work program at Western Michigan University, so I'm also a college student. And I recently started DJing and event planning.
So speaking of school and DJing and your cleaning business, how do you get into all those? What was the thought process behind this?
So starting my cleaning business, I was a waitress for many years, and really I just got to the point, I waitressed through COVID and all of that, which was a difficult time for anyone in the service industry. So after COVID, I was kind of burnt out on waitressing, and I also, after having spent time incarcerated, I made it a point that I was going to live my life and I was going to experience things. And so I would take time off to go on trips and such. And when you're working a restaurant, they're normally not cool with that, with you taking off weekends and stuff. So there was this one time I just asked for Easter off, and my boss came out of the office like yelling at me about taking off Easter. And I had already been thinking about starting up cleaning. And so I just will never forget this, because that day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start my own cleaning business and I'm never gonna have to ask for a day off again. And then I did it. And here I am 3 years later, make my own schedule. I'm my own boss. And so getting into that, I started off with that on like a third-party hiring app called Thumbtack. That kind of just got me started, got me jobs, and gave me, before and after pictures or whatever. And eventually I actually got removed from that because they did a background check on me and saw that I had a felony. Luckily, I had started a business Facebook page. And so I just started running my business completely off of Facebook, which is free. The other one was not free. I had to pay for the leads. And so that just really, I was a little upset when they kicked me off, but in the end it turned out even better, because now I just can advertise my business for free on Facebook. So when you're running your own business, you have to be very diligent about your schedule, keeping your books. You have to be reliable. You have to be a good communicator. It definitely helps to be personable, build rapport with your clients. I have some clients 3 years now.
What was the process starting out? I know you said you went to the this app. What was it called?
Thumbtack.
Thumbtack. And how did you get put on that? Like, did you do your own research, or was it recommended?
I had a friend who recommended me to it.
Did she do her own business, or?
Yes, she's actually the one who kind of inspired me. She was a waitress with me, and she left to go do house cleaning. And then I started having her clean my house. And when she started telling me how much money she was making and how much she could make her own schedule and stuff, I was like, okay, it's just, because honestly, at first, I was like, no, I'll never clean houses. Like, somebody just randomly asked me if I'd be willing to, and I was like, no, like, I'm not doing that. But then once I heard how much money you can do pretty well with it, so I was like, okay, that's kind of, a little more tempting. But she really, she got me on, got me started, told me all the supplies I needed, told me about Thumbtack. She took me on a job with her, so I was really grateful for her guidance.
What were some of the things that you had to do to get ready to, outside of getting your supplies and everything, what were some of the things that you had to do to prep yourself to go into the cleaning business?
Well, pretty much, it's honestly a very simple startup business. I highly recommend it to anyone, especially people who worked customer service, because really you just get your supplies. I made a profile on Thumbtack, and then I had to pay for leads to get started. Mm-hmm. So you do have to invest, but maybe $500 to get started. Yeah,
and that's with supplies and uniform stuff and the basic stuff that you would need.
Yeah, I don't even wear a uniform, honestly. I just wear whatever I want, like band tees and sweatpants. That's my typical uniform. But yeah, it's part of why I love it too, is I can and I'm at the point too where I've grown my business where I can just be myself. And my clients like me, and I don't have to dress a certain way to impress. Honestly, most of the time I've been like, if you don't like me, there's hundreds of other cleaning businesses out there, and I've kind of just had that attitude of, and there's, not only are there hundreds of cleaning businesses, but there's always clients too. So it's, even if I lose a client or I don't get a job that I bid on or whatever, there's always somebody else. So
how has being a felon affected your personal business with cleaning?
Well, I got kicked off. I had Thumbtack for 2 years.
Did they say outside of just because you're a felon, there was no other? Well,
so this is what I think happened. So I had been doing the Thumbtack for a couple years. I had over 20 reviews. I had a really solid profile, and I got hired for a cleaning. I went there, and the man asked to see my ID, and because Thumbtack had been asking me to do a background check. They're like, make your profile better by doing a background check. And I knew that was not gonna make, they're gonna probably kick me off. So I just kept saying no. So I get hired for a cleaning. I showed up. He asked me to see my ID. So I thought maybe he just wanted to verify my identity or something, which is valid. And so I gave it to him, and he starts walking away with it, and he tells me he's gonna go look me up. This random customer, the whole thing was honestly weird, but he's like, I'm gonna go look you up. So I was honest. I was like, well, just so you know, I do have a felony. And I was straight up with him about it. And then he started telling me how he was a retired corrections officer, I cleaned their house, whatever. But then right after that, Thumbtack canceled my profile right after that. So I think that man reported me. So that I was pretty upset. Like I said, I had built a solid profile on there, but then it's like one door closes, another one opens type of thing, because now I don't have to pay for leads. I'm fully on Facebook now. And besides that, I haven't had any problems with it. Actually, a lot of my clients are aware. Once I build it, I don't just tell people right off the rip. I don't just tell people right off the rip that I've been to prison. I'm going, you know what I mean? I'm going in people's houses. It's really personal, and I want to build trust with people before I just tell them I was in prison. But several of my clients know. Even I cleaned for this guy for 2.5 years, and never told him. It just never came up, and he's still my client. But one day it came up that I had been to prison, and he was like, so have I. Like, he went to federal prison. And I was like, holy crap, because this guy's like, I mean, he's white, upper middle class, kind of nerdy
Never
dude. Like,
to be.
no, like, I was shocked in it, but that's just, and that just tells you it's just everyday people. Like, that's why I try not to judge a book by its cover, because you just never know what people have been through and stuff. But
you mentioned keeping your books and things like that. What were some of the things that you encountered getting into your cleaning business that you didn't necessarily expect, that you kind of got blindsided with, and you had to do some? What did you have to do extra to that you hadn't done before?
I think taxes. So making sure that I had all of my expenses in, my receipts saved, and my mileage, and like tracking my income. And
you said your friend taught you all about this.
Not the tax part. I had to figure that out on my own. Like the first 2 years I had my cleaning, well, I guess I didn't file the first year on my cleaning business because I was just so overwhelmed and I didn't know what to do. So then the second year I filed for both years, but once I did file, I have a really good tax guy, so it really wasn't that hard. Like, I kind of built it up to be more than it really was. Like, but you have to keep track of, and even little things like your phone bill, your mileage on your car, oil changes, anything on the car, like just keeping up and keeping track of all those expenses so you can write them off. Because like I have a Venmo that takes some taxes out, but for the most part, like I have to.
It's always better to keep track yourself, just to make sure.
Yeah.
What was that like, going to school at the same time and trying to run your own business?
It was fairly manageable, only because I make my own schedule. So that was a bonus of that. But once I got down to the last semester of my associate's degree, I had an internship 3 days a week, plus a class on Thursdays or something. So I had an internship Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and class on Thursdays. So working was almost impossible to find time to do that. So that was
a regular scheduled job, like a 9 to 5. That's being possible. No.
Yeah, but even making my own schedule was hard, but I managed to, the spring of my associate's degree, which would have been like 2 years ago now, I dropped a bunch of my cleanings. At the same time, my ex had lost his job. It was such a mess. At the same time, my ex had lost his job. So we were like, I'm like having to work, but trying to finish school, and it was a nightmare. So I ended up getting a second job working at a bar at night. And then I dropped a bunch of my cleanings because I was super overwhelmed, trying to graduate, finish my internship, do 2 jobs. Like, it was nearly impossible.
How did you find that balance, that equilibrium to kind of get through?
I didn't. I was losing my mind. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was not in a good mental headspace. But like, I did it all, you know what I mean? But it was rough. It was a rough time. But obviously, like, for being a huge accomplishment to get my associate's degree, like, that was the main goal, and I did it. So.
In hindsight, what are some of the things that you think you can do, that you thought you could do better if you were to get a second chance at it?
At that time, honestly, there's nothing.
Like nothing. Like, it was just hell on wheels. That's all it was.
I mean,
you made it.
Like, find a sugar daddy or something. Like, I swear, like, it's hard going back to school as an adult because you have to work. Like, you have to work. Then if you don't go full time to college, you're going to be in college for 10 years or something. You know what I mean? So, like, I've been going full time, 4 or 5 classes for 3 years now, 4 years? 4 years now.
Yeah.
4 years now. Like, I'm on break right now. This is the longest break I've gotten, like 3 years. But, so for me personally, I've kind of realized that the more stuff I have on my plate, for some reason, the better I do. Like, I don't know.
It's funny how that works.
Like, I might be super stressed out and like mental health in the toilet, and I've gotten better about self-care and stuff, but like, I made the dean's list, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, just having good time management skills and organization skills are really important to school and running your own business, really.
Did you have a support network around you as you were going through all this, and what did that look like? Because I know you're part of like a whole girl squad of those like Kamiko and Lawanda and all them out here doing some stuff. So
yeah, Kamiko is a big support for me always. It's just hard because we're so far away. Like I haven't seen her in months, but I do know that I can always call her. I don't know. I didn't feel like at that time I had a lot of support. I felt pretty alone at that time. But I was like going through struggles with my ex, and he wasn't very supportive like in the ways I needed, really at all. But like I needed, help around the house and just little everyday things to take some stuff off my plate, and he didn't contribute to that. So that was a big factor of why I was so stressed out, because not only was I doing school, work, and everything else, but I had a house to take care of with 5 people living here. And then going through that difficult time with my ex, if you've been in a toxic or abusive relationship, you start to kind of isolate and you feel really alone because you don't want to burden people with your problems. So that time was really difficult, but I made it through it. You just have to push through stuff though. Like there's gonna be difficult chapters. And so it's just like it's just like I have to look at where I came from and just find gratitude. And that's what keeps me going, because, even all of that stress, like I'd rather have been dealing with that than been in prison, So it's like just trying to find the gratitude and everything and just pushing forward.
How has networking played a role in all of that you've done?
Networking is huge when it comes to anything, I figured out. Working with other formerly incarcerated, and I've had, for my cleaning business, I've had people who personally know me recommend me, and so and then I meet my clients, and that's more opportunities for them to recommend me. And then like even in the DJing, like it's important who you know, or it's really helpful to know people and network and in the DJ world, because then you could get better shows or whatever else, you know what I mean? And but for me, it's not just about, like, I enjoy human connection too. So like networking, like while you can use it to your advantage, like in your business or whatever else, like I personally just enjoy connecting with people. And yeah.
What are some of the, when it comes to those interactions, networking with people that are in other industries and things like that, how do you approach these people? Like what are some of the tips and tricks that the things that you've picked up in order to kind of better be able to communicate and with what you do to these people and receiving information as far as that concerns?
I think it's just about being genuine. Just like being genuine and kind and supportive of whatever people have going, like as long as it's positive, like supportive of the positive things people have going on. And I think it's really as simple as that. Especially lately, I've been thinking a lot, because I've always been kind of like a people pleaser and like cared too much about what people thought of me and stuff. And I've recently really come to a place where I can just genuinely be myself, and even if it's not received well, then at least I know that I was myself, I was kind, I was genuine, whatever, and I'm good with that. Like people can take it or leave it type of thing. So
well, it's like you said earlier, those are some of your long-standing clients are the ones that actually know you as a person, instead of just a hired cleaning lady. What has there been any connections with any resources or nonprofit organizations around that's kind of been in your circle?
I I mean,
Or that you might have tapped to do a job or something like that?
oh, for like the cleaning?
Just anything.
I mean, I've been asked to speak on several panels for things. I spoke on a panel for a class at U of M on criminal justice or something along those lines. And then like I did a panel at the Detroit Theater with Aaron Kinsel.
How did these come about?
Really just, I think I've been involved with PCAP. I've done several panels with them. I know Mary Heinen very well.
How has seeing individuals and being part of, I guess you could say this, our class of citizenry, and seeing the other people that we know doing the things that we're doing, how has that motivated you, or how has that affected you in going forward and seeing that these people around you are doing dope things and they came from the same place?
It's definitely inspirational, and it really lit a fire under me. Going into social work, you can work with a number of populations, and formerly incarcerated is definitely one that I want to work with. But I wasn't sure at first if I did, because I didn't know if you have to examine, is it going to be triggering to you, or are you going to put your trauma onto people or such and such. But I see now that a lot of formerly incarcerated, the majority of people who are formerly incarcerated have either substance abuse or trauma, child-related trauma. And for me personally, I can easiest talk to other people who have been through the same experience. So it's really inspired me to help other formerly incarcerated or whatever once I start counseling and stuff.
How has getting into social work changed your perspective on things, or has it?
It's changed it a lot. There was a lot of things that I was ignorant about, prejudice, like, how do I word it? Marginalized populations. I didn't realize, certain things about race, that systemic racism that, is in all of that. And then also discrimination on felons and where that started. It started with basically African Americans. They wanted some way to enslave them again, so they started making felonies
Locking
and stuff.
up,
Yeah,
making crimes out of pettiness.
Yeah.
Just to get people back in books and work in the fields.
Yeah, and like when I learned that, it like made me so angry, because I'm now kind of being affected by the racism that occurred, the racism and the discrimination that occurred then. Like, I'm now a felon and can see like, wow, and like relate to that. And it just makes me really angry. And I just want to speak up against it, speak up for what's right.
What made you go from confining yourself, and kind of secluding yourself when you started to feel alone? What made you come back out of that show?
Really just pure determination. Also, I got out of that relationship. So you just have to keep going. I don't know. Like, I think that, and I don't think this can, not everyone has the same experiences in life. So I can't sit here and say like, I did this so you can, or whatever, you know what I mean? Because not everyone has the same opportunities or the same experiences or outlook on life. For me, I just keep pushing forward. I just don't give up. And I have like a hustle mentality. I'm gonna take care of myself, and like nobody, if I don't need anybody type of thing. But also having had to learn to ask for help also.
I hear that a lot. I'm a victim of that too.
Asking for help?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you get out and you're trying to prove yourself. You're trying to prove you can do this.
You don't even know what to ask.
Right.
And you're just trying to pull something off, and you don't even really know how to do it. So it's hard to even ask for, what you need help on. When you got an idea in your head, like, you can't nobody tell you different. And if it's important to learn how to convey what you want, because if you don't, you're not going to really get any help. At least that's been my experience. If you can't explain what you're looking for or what you need, it's going to be very difficult for you. So I think, did you come out with any idea? I know you say you were working at the restaurant as a server, and you met your friend with the cleaning. Was there any notion before you got out what you wanted to do outside of school?
Waitress, basically. Like, I was like, but I did set the goal to get into school while I was in prison. It took me a while, though. Honestly, when I got out, I just had to get on my feet. Like, I had nothing. Like, I got out, I was in a homeless shelter. I didn't have, like, any clothes. Like, I had nothing. And so I really had to build up my life. So I worked 2 jobs for, like, 2 years, you know, and just kind of established myself before I could travel or even think about going to school or anything like that. I was just trying to survive, get on my feet, feel like comfortable and established. And I also didn't have a driver's license when I got out too. So that was another setback. I had to earn my license back.
You had to earn it back?
Yeah. I don't think we talked about that the first time, but yeah, I had a revoked license and I had to go through the whole process with Secretary of State. It's like a 2-year process to get my license back, which most people do with a lawyer. That's how difficult it is. You usually have to pay a lawyer. I did it by myself, but it's another way that the system holds back people who don't have money. Because if you can't afford a lawyer and you don't have the organizational skills or determination to do those whatever you have to do for then you just have no license.
You're just gonna take it.
Yeah, you just have no license, and then you have to drive to work to make money, and then you get pulled over and you go to jail, and then now you owe more money for bond. And it's just another way that the system really holds people back, is the whole revoked license. The license restoration process, we'll call it, is a nightmare. But
you're a clean driver now, huh?
Yep, I have my full license. I had to have a breathalyzer in my car for a year and have a restricted license.
They make you pay for it?
Yep.
That's horrible. Dude, they make you set up like this whole contraption in your car that before you can turn it on, but before that thing even kicks on, you gotta blow in the, and they make you pay to get it installed, and you can only get it installed by a certain
it's
places.
Like $500 to get it put in, and then it's like $150 every 2 months or something. We have to go every 2 months, but that part, honestly, the hard part is the hearing. Because you have to apply for a hearing with Secretary of State. And so you have to get all of this paperwork. You have to get like a substance abuse evaluation. You have to get notarized letters of recommendation.
What was it that got
so
your
much.
license revoked?
My crime was it was drinking and driving related. So
you had to go through a whole bunch of extra hoops to get your license back.
It was basically like my license was taken away. And I actually thought when it first happened that it meant I could never have a license again. And then when I was in prison, I talked to this lady who was a lawyer, and she was like, no, there's a whole process through Secretary of State that you can do to apply for it. And I was like, oh. And so she started telling me then what I was gonna need to when I went. So for example, you need proof of AA attendance. So I started saving my AA sheets. So by the time I went in for my license hearing, I had like 5 years, 6 years of AA attendance sheets. You know what I mean? Because I had already been planning this when I was locked up. So it was like a major goal for me to get my license back, especially after, you know, my poor decision and what sent me to prison. It was really important to me to overcome that and get my license back, especially when I found out I could. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get my license. And I think I was out been out 7 years now. I was out like 5 years before, 4 or 5 years before I got it back.
I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't drive for that long. That's horrible.
Well, luckily I worked right a mile up the road. Like, my boyfriend had a car, you know what I mean? So like, I had resources to get around, but I couldn't have done my cleaning business. I drive all over for that. So
leading into the newest addition to your repertoire, Miss DJ. Go ahead and tell us about that. How did that happen?
So I had no inkling of doing this or any idea. I went out to a show one night in Lansing, and I don't know, I met like a couple people, and then my boyfriend he had added me on Facebook. I must have popped up on his people you may know or something. And I was single, and I'm like, oh, he's cute or whatever, you know? So I'm like, accept. And then I saw him like a week later or something at another event, and we briefly talked, but then the next day I like hopped in his inbox and was like, oh, hey, so it was so nice to meet you last night. And we just started talking, and turned out that he's been a DJ for like over 20 years. He has a weekly event where he brings, well, now it's our event, but when we first met, he had a weekly event that he brings in new DJs every week, every Tuesday. And so it was kind of a unique experience, because it's one thing to start dating a DJ, but it's another thing to start dating a DJ with a weekly event. I didn't know, like I've always liked electronic music, but I've never been in like the scene, like the electronic music scene. I've been more into rock and metal and stuff. But so I just was like, I don't know. And it's fun. So like I haven't missed a Tuesday since we started dating. Like I've gone and supported his stuff every single Tuesday. Just because one thing I really like about what he does is he doesn't charge a cover at the door. It's a free event, and that's always been really important to him, because he is not in it for the money. He wants to build a community. So it's about the music and it's about community. And I just always really admired that whole aspect of it. And so it's also given me a unique perspective, because a lot of people are trying to be in it for the money. And so sometimes I'm like, what? And then my boyfriend's like, well, you've learned different. You've learned it's about the music, not about the money. And I don't know, that just really inspired me. And I'm all about building community and bringing people together. So then I've been going every Tuesday, supporting his stuff or whatever. And I don't know, about 6 months back, his partner took a step back. She was just getting overwhelmed with, I mean, it's like a job. And so she was just getting overwhelmed with everything she had going on and doing this weekly event. So I kind of stepped up and was like, hey, I can help you make the flyer or whatever you need. And so far it's going really well. And we've really our setup, we've got all the lights and, and all of that, and bringing in vendors every week and artists, and all of that's really just us coming together has really just amplified it. And then I was kind of hoping, after a while, I was kind of hoping I would get to learn to DJ, but I really...
What was that?
I'm a huge music lover. I always have been a huge music lover. So the idea of creating art in music in that way really intrigued me. Because I'm not super I don't mind being in front of people and talking and stuff, but I'm not putting myself out there like that. I could be pretty reserved and observe and all of that. And so the performing aspect, it's fun, but it's more about the music and you're bringing this experience to people. And I thought it seemed really cool, you know what I mean? But I waited. I didn't ask him to teach me, because I didn't want to bug him about it. This is his craft and something he's passionate about and very well educated about at this point. So I didn't want to just expect that he was going to teach me. I wanted to earn it. And I got to a certain point where I did feel like I earned it, you know what I mean? Going to his event over a year, supporting all his stuff. And I'm like, okay. But what really pushed me to start was my friend Morgan. She's a DJ. She was his partner before she stepped back. But we've gotten really close. And along with her and my other friend, Mary, we planned a 2-day art and music festival here in Lansing called Femtronica. So that's another thing, like the event planning. So it's not just DJing, it's promoting and planning events too, curating events, which is cool. Like, I don't know, I just kind of stumbled into all of this. But Morgan was really the one who pushed me to DJ because we needed one more DJ for Femtronica for our event. And she was like, oh, here's your chance, basically. So I had like 10 days to get ready to debut at Femtronica.
How did that work? What did that look like?
Luckily, I have a wonderful teacher in my boyfriend. So just very basic. Just did a very basic set, nothing crazy. But after that, I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, I love it now. And I mean, I'm lucky enough to play a couple after parties movement weekend, unofficial after parties, but people put years of hard work in to be able to say I played movement weekend. And for me, after just a few months of DJing, getting to play movement weekend is like so huge. Like, I found out and I was like bawling, crying. Like, I'm so humbled, but that's a networking because the one show is a Femtronica show. So it's me and Mary and Morgan, Femtronica's our thing. So of course I'm gonna play that, you know what I mean? But then I'm playing with Juan at another show, and there's some really good headliners on there. And the only reason I'm getting to play that show is because of Juan. And that's a networking. And I think I built a rapport too with the guy who puts it on, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But I'm getting a lot of amazing opportunities, and I'm super grateful and super humble about it because people put in years of hard work with this stuff.
Looking back, how important was your interpersonal communication skills with people when it comes to just being able to pull all this off?
I mean, it's been everything. Mostly when it comes to like my cleaning business, it is super helpful that I'm a people person. Because like I said, it's important for me to build a rapport with my clients. And because for me, it's really vulnerable to think of someone coming in my house. Like, and maybe that stems from prison. You know what I mean? Because like our cells were our only safe place. Like, you do not go in someone's room in prison, you know what I mean? Without their permission. So I am now, I think, kind of stemming from that, like very protective of my space. And Chloe's joining. But so knowing that, I've always tried to be really respectful and conscious of that I'm going into people's spaces. And so, talking with them and building a rapport with them and building their trust has been really important. Like I said, I'm mainly just myself and genuine and just kind, and people appreciate that for sure.
What's some advice that you can give to those that are still inside that, maybe thinking about coming out and starting their own thing? What advice would you give them? Some of the steps they should take?
Start a cleaning business specifically?
Just anything. I mean, I know you said that, even just with your, the thought of getting your license back, you started prepping way beforehand. You started saving your, your paperwork. And what advice would you give to those coming out, get ready to prepare for their stuff?
Figure out your resources, what resources are available in your area. Don't be afraid to ask for help. When you're inside, make a plan. And they'll tell you this in there too, for me, I had like 30-day goals, year goal, and like 5-year goals or whatever. Set goals. Goal setting, I think, is super important. Write down, what are you gonna do on your first day you get out? What do you wanna accomplish in the first month? Just goal setting and planning is really important. Figure out who your social supports are and or where you can get that from in the community, whether it's church. One of my big social supports when I got out was AA. I knew where the AA hall here in town was, so I went there for social support when I got out. And just don't let being a felon hold you back, because it can feel very defeating when you're trying to apply for jobs and apartments and you're getting turned down because you're a felon. But you just have to keep going, because in reality, in Michigan, it's something like 1 in 4 people are felons. Like, we're a minority, but we're not at the same time, you know what I mean? And I just think, like, well, I was going to say, like, be honest, but, like, don't always be honest that you're a felon. I mean, for real, don't lie about it. But if you're not directly asked about it in certain situations, such as housing, then, maybe keep that to yourself. But when you need to be honest about it, just be honest and own it. And most people will respect you for that, I think, rather than, trying to act like it didn't happen.
Well, I wanted to ask you about some of the organizations that you've had dealings with since you've been out. What has that experience been like? And what specific organizations have you participated with? I know you spoke about PCAP earlier.
Yeah, I've done some work with PCAP. I did a couple of panels for PCAP. I haven't done anything with them in a long time, though. It's been a few years now since I've done anything. Really, I haven't done a lot in the last few years because of school and work. And plus, I'm at the point, like, I've been out 7 years, and so I'm not freshly out anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like people, they want to hear of experiences more of, like, people who've been out like 5 years or less or whatever. You know what I mean? Just fresh and new people who are out. So it's cool that we're doing this, because that is kind of what ends up happening. You know what I mean? You see how people, and even, like I said, I had to work for 2 years and build up my life before I was even close to being a little bit established.
Did you have any help during that time?
No, not really. I had another crappy boyfriend who put me through hell. He was an addict, though. And I just had, like, this house I've rented here for 6 years. She's just taking turns on our laps. She's so sweet. But for the most part, I have not had any help. I've pretty much, I have some social supports, but, like, as far as money or anything, like, I've been doing this on my own all this time. And I had a little help from my ex, for a while. He wasn't total deadbeat. But for the most part, doing this all on my own and just figuring it out. But knowing my resources and having friends I can talk to about it, like Kamiko. Kamiko's been through similar situations as far as being formerly incarcerated. She owns her own business and whatever else. So there's a lot that I can talk with her about stuff.
Has that relationship had a big impact on your process and your path?
Oh yeah. Kamiko for me is somebody that, like, I know is always there. Like, that's my sister. And then I've had, I don't know, I feel like knowing her has helped me network, honestly, like, because she's so connected with so many people. And then I tell someone, oh yeah, that's like my sister. And they're like, oh, she's great. So it's like, being connected and being friends with Kamiko has been helpful. Networking, my mental health. Like, I'm going to go up there and see her in Petoskey in 3 weeks, and just to get away. But I love it up there. Like, I can go up there and just kind of escape. It's beautiful. And then just being with her, I just feel so at peace. She's like the only person I can, like, be with and feel like I can just chill. And, like, she's, I don't want to say she's going to take care of me, but it's almost motherly in a way. But I see her more as like a sister, but like a big sister.
She's
but it's
a personality.
Yeah, and she just, like, she's so fun, and I just love her. I can't wait to go see her. I'm excited.
You spoke about a lot of the, technicalities and things that you had to do. How important has mental health been in this whole process?
Super important. I've just adopted, that, like, if I'm not good for myself, then I'm not going to be good for anyone else. So, and this can maybe sound selfish to some people, but I put myself and my mental health over everything, including my own kid. And some people hear that and they're like, oh my God, you put yourself over your kid. And it's like, well, yeah, because I can't be the best mom to her if I'm not putting myself first, you know? And so honestly, AA helped me a lot. I'm not an active member anymore, but you know, just building that foundation was really important to just building confidence in myself and creating goals and just inner mantras that you live by every day, just to help you be a better person and have a more positive attitude and outlook on life.
Do you got any haters?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm sure.
You know.
What do you say to the haters?
What do I say? Like, what do I want to say?
Yeah,
or like if
haters?
someone's directly hating on me?
What do you want to say to the haters? Because I feel like you would speak for kind of a lot of us. Any hater, really.
Really, honestly, I would just, if someone was hating on me, I would just ask them to look at themselves and what it is about themselves that they don't like that is making them not like me, type of thing. Like, I used to be like, oh, you know, fuck the haters. I don't know if I can cuss on this, but you know what I mean? And just like, now I just really try hard not to take stuff personal and just know that like, if someone is being negative towards me, that's not a reflection of me. That's a projection of their own, of how they feel about themselves. So, well, yeah, it's annoying. And like, in the DJ world, like I'm gonna get haters and you know what I mean, and stuff like that, but I'm just gonna be true to myself. I'm just gonna, you know, be assertive person, but kind and humble. And if anyone doesn't like me, like I feel bad for them because they must not like themselves, type of, is, you know what I mean?
And they're messing up. That's the crazy thing. Like, as soon as the judgment comes, it's like, all right, you can go ahead and go that way, but just, you know, like you said, I know who I am, and you know, it's just a shame. Do you believe, with your experience, that, you know, society has done enough to offer support for anybody coming out of the system?
No, not at all. There's almost no support. And not only do you face a lack of support, such as access to resources and stuff, but then you're discriminated upon.
When you go to access them.
Yeah, like it's the last legal form of discrimination. It's to discriminate on somebody because of their criminal record. It's the only way you can legally discriminate on someone and like not get in trouble anymore. Is, you know, on a job, they can ask you, have you been a felon, and not hire you because of it. They can deny you access to housing because you're a felon. There's nothing else that, like, they can deny it and say it's another reason, but they can't legally, you know what I mean? It's only legal. And and then people just, it's really just lack of education in general society and being fed things by the media, and then a lack of education or personal experience with the topic. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's understandable, but it's like, if you've never been through incarceration, you've never known anyone who's been incarcerated, and then you just see stuff on TV, you know, it's like, no wonder these people have these viewpoints, kind of, you know, but it's up to people to educate themselves.
No, that's real.
So while I try to, you know, keep that in mind, that people, it's just a lack of education for a lot of people, I also, you know, it's people's responsibility to educate themselves, but I'm not going to force anyone to,
facts.
You know what I mean? I'm just going to be like,
you ain't got to, I don't, yeah.
It's like, you believe what you want, like, I'm going to speak up for what I believe. If you don't agree, then that's fine. We don't have to agree, but I do think it's wrong. That's another thing I learned in school, of how the criminal justice system holds people back. It's just, you know, a revolving door. Like, even bonds. I can't remember, one of the girls, maybe it's Asia Johnson, she was working with this program that was paying people's bonds to get out of jail. She's another amazing girl. But so she was working with this nonprofit, and they were paying people's bonds to get out of jail, because basically you end up imprisoned because you're too poor to pay your bond to get out of jail. Like, how sad is that? People sit in jail on $100 bond and stuff for weeks or however long, like low bonds, just because they don't have the money, and it's just a way to hold back, keep people in poverty, because now they've probably lost their job, because and all of that, and it's just like, yeah, that's just, the whole system is not built for low income. I don't want to say poor. I keep wanting to say poor, but low income is what we'll say. The whole system's just designed for low income individuals to fail.
With that said, it seems that, you ain't listening to that shit. I think that, with the way things are going right now, with a lot of the fights, with some of the organizations that are going out here, with Nation Outside, with Tipler, now getting ourselves into actually being in the process, or being in the situation of actually people coming home and being able to help them navigate. It's definitely changing the game. I know one of the things that we were talking about just the other day is attempting to institute a pre-entry type of program where we got the orientation where we get told about the prison, but like, who's telling you about what you can expect when you reach the end of your bid? Are you locked up for 10, 15 years? If you are, technology is definitely not going to be the same. So you need to be aware of that. Same with banking, same with taxes. There's certain things that it's so funny because the stuff that we should be learning, they completely restrict. Taxes, for example. Like, we can't touch, they don't even have tax books in the law library.
Really?
We're not allowed to touch it. We're not allowed to do anything with our taxes. That's why we don't get paperwork back. And it's those things that, makes you wonder, like, is there truth, to what you were talking about? Is the system set up? Because it can't be by accident, because somebody thought these processes through. And there was reasons why they did it this way. I'm curious to know what those reasons are.
Well, prisons bring in millions of dollars a year.
You said M?
Maybe billions. Maybe billions.
It's definitely
so it's really all about money.
And that's not even, going into the private sector of things with prison. Like, prison gets its own money from the state, but yet the prison itself contracts for everything now. Phone, food, commissary, it's all contract based now.
And then pays the prisoners slave labor wages to run the prison, basically.
No, we've talked about this before. That's exactly what it is. Like, we run everything in there. The maintenance, the schools, the child hall, the gyms, like, they're just there as overseers.
Pretty much.
It's. I've always been surprised with. I wouldn't even say it's surprised. I would say it's more dumbfounded to the extent at which they will go to restrict certain types of information, and to hear the reasons why. It's always like, really? Like, I couldn't even get my hands on computer coding books because they're restricted.
Man, I couldn't even get my hands on underwear. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
It's not funny, but it's funny.
Yeah, it is. It's messed up. That's the first thing, when you said that's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, I was there 3 years and could never get new underwear. Like,
you essentially would have to come in there with streaks and holes in your drawers for them to give you new drawers.
Well, I did get an appointment one time to go to the quartermaster, right? And all they had was extra large underwear. I'm clearly not an extra large, so it was like huge. Like, I didn't even take it. Like, so I waited months to get into the quartermaster, and that's the only size they had were extra larges. So I should have just taken them and given them to somebody probably. But I was like, I'm not taking these. So funny. It is funny. But.
Okay, Miss Kayla, we've been sitting here for about an hour going back and forth. Do you have any last thoughts before we close this out? Any last thing you might want to say to those of the Hidden Nation?
I would just say, just don't give up. Society and people are going to tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that, but the sky's the limit. As long as you set your mind to it, and if you need a little more help, than the next person, then that's okay. And just don't be afraid to ask for it. And yeah, sky's the limit.